Oh, Brickfair, Virginia, or technically Brickfair Chantilly now. Brickfair is a wonderful place where you can see a huge amount of just phenomenal Bionicle mocks, and all in one place. So Brickfair is easily the best US convention to see Bionicle creations, and I'm going to show you all of the ones that were on display today in this video, so that you can live that Brickfair experience right at home. Let's dive in. Starting off strong with probably one of the best Bionicle builders of today, we have Wormy World and his just brilliant builds. I don't know how Wormy or Nathan packs in just like so many incredible techniques and just puts so much life into everything he does, but he does, and he does it very, very well. He brought this new dragon mock called Virgo Dragon, and it was just exquisite. I mean, look at these brilliant wings that spam all of these large feather pieces. Such a gorgeous design. And there's just so much to love about everything he makes, like this wonderfully sinister design on this unique build here with this great arm design, or the incredibly realistic bird-like look of his Avery Bonsai build. He's just so good. I've featured a ton of Nathan's builds on this channel before, and you can definitely expect some more individual videos of his stuff coming to you soon on the channel. This is going to be just like a brief overview of everything at the show. More in-depth, detailed videos on certain mocks are going to be in store, so stay tuned for that. Some stuff by Matt Goldberg now. I'll try my best to credit as many builders as I can here, but there were so many builders present at Brickfair this year, so I apologize I won't be able to name everyone, but I'm going to try my best to. So lovely to see so many incredible builds on display here that just seem to have inspiration from so many different things, and it's all done by one builder, so that's always awesome. We've got Pahatu and Kopaka here, but they've been body swapped, which I think is a really unique way of approaching a build. That's really cool. A couple wonderful animal builds that Matt has made here. It's great to see both of them using these CCBS paw elements for the foot design. That's cool. We've also got some lovely Halo-inspired mocks, as well as this really fearsome dragon build too. I love this gold base at the bottom here. It really does make this feel a lot more regal and grand. I suppose you can say the same for the fact that it's got a crown on the top of the head too. But yeah, a really dominating and strong build here. It's lovely to see. It's also got some lights in the eyes here, and a few of Matt's other mocks also had some of those there. It's lovely to see some Bionicle builders playing around with lighting, because it almost always makes the mocks look so much cooler. And of course, this event has the Night of Lights, where the lights come down and you just see the mocks with the lights turned on. It's a beautiful thing to see, and it enhances these already awesome mocks in such great ways. Yanni, or Yannick Gotts, has some more amazing builds on display. Yanni's another very kind and awesome friend from the show. It's so easy to make friends at a show like this when there's so many wonderful people. Of course, we can see his Mutterhead bust here. Now, this got 10,000 votes on LEGO Ideas, so let's hope that becomes a set soon, because it looks so good. A very unique take on the Baraki set Kalmar here. This is such a creepy and frightening mock that captures the essence of the Baraki in such a weird and wonderful way. And all of these mocks here are built by Aiden Builds, and Aiden has such a unique building style that I just love. I mean, from these weird monster flowers to all the wonderful curves on his very recent dragon mock here, Aiden just knows what he's doing and just like takes his own unique style and takes it into crazy unique places. I just love it. He's got some of these great beasts and monsters scattered all throughout his section of the table here. I love seeing these cherries used for eyes here on this specific design. Very cool. We've also got this clever part use on this Komori Kaiju build here, which features some of these classic Ewok glider wing pieces, and a bunch of them together there make for the perfect looking wing design. Now over to one of the best human beings in the world. This is Brandon Builds, who brought his A-game with these just brilliant reimaginings of the Toa Mata. It was so nice to see a blend of G1 and G2 elements of these Toa, because, you know, we've got things like different pieces from G2, but the color schemes of the original Toa Mata, these builds are just so clean and so well executed. And he also brought his fantastic Tahu Lord of Fire mock, and he's actually changed up the color scheme, so it's no longer silver, it's got some gold armor, which was a really nice choice, by the way. And also, congratulations to Brandon, because this won the Best Bionicle Humanoid award, or the Bricky rather, at Brickfair, which was very, very well deserved for sure. So, oh, and by the way, this also lit up, so if you thought this mock was already cool, it just got way cooler. Now over to Alex Mertens, who had a rather large display with plenty of builds to showcase. Alex is another builder with a very distinct building style, and I think he's a master of really smooth and clean designs that just look so realistic and organic. I just adore his mocks, especially these Vizirax here. Just the way they look is so out there and so awesome. There's this wonderful kind of almost sci-fi look to them, and I think it just fits right at home with the original look of the Vizirax sets, but reimagined in his own distinct, unique way. He's also brought this new Golden Vizirax mock, which is just exquisite. What a lovely color scheme, and it partners very well with his Rudaka mock, which I think I actually forgot to film here, so apologies for that, but I recently did a video about that Rudaka mock, so if you're dying to see it, you can check that out. Alex brought plenty of other like Toa and other unique builds that he's done, but I actually really love his table setup here with some great signage, some nice elevated displays, so it's easy to see everything and you're not taking up too much space or having mocks standing in front of the other one and you can't really see details and stuff. A good setup like this is really important at a convention like this, and Alex did it really, really well. It's clean, it's beautiful, it's great. So as nice as his mocks are, the setup is just as good, so that's really nice. Now, there were 4 huge tables of Bionicle mocks at Brick Fair. Let's quickly transition over into another one. This is the Bionilug table, and then we'll circle back to the table we were just on. So we've got a bunch of fantastic builds here that use some custom masks. I always love me a good custom mask. I even managed to buy one from Red Star Games at Brick Fair this year, which was lovely. So a pleasure to see some mocks using them here. We got ourselves a few more wonderful builds using some G2 parts, and then we move over into Seth's builds. Now, he's got some wonderful Peacock mocks here that have some brilliant, vibrant colors to them and some lovely, unique designs. And certainly some unique designs here on this huge blue and gold peacock that's been built here. I love the use of these gold zappy lightning parts here for these tail feathers. Very nice design there. Seth also brought his very recent Tarakava revamp here, which is just a sight to behold. The curvature on this and the big old spiky back design just looks phenomenal. What's really impressive is this huge Bionicle tree here. I mean, look at it. We got these Pahatu Mata torso pieces in brown making up the tree trunk, and then we transition into these green Rachi feet for the leaves. Back down at the bottom here, we've got some wonderful plant life with these Bionicle flowers. They look stunning, and also this Pixel T-Rex is just a bit of fun. I enjoy that one. We then move over into what I believe is a mix of Evangelion and Kopaka, so great to see some anime inspiration mixing in with Bionicle to form this huge build. Very impressive. Then we continue with some anime inspiration here with these All Might busts here from My Hero Academia. And now we move over to some cursed but still fun builds. These are by Dalla Kang, and you know, hey, leaning into that cursed look that the Ultra Build heads have, it certainly works here on these mocks. These are unique for sure. We also now go to the Bionilug Mosaic here with some different terrain builds in front of them that showcase cities like Tarkoro and Garkoro from the Bionicle story and all that. These are fun. These use some of the Dimensions light-up boards that came on the old LEGO Dimensions theme, and it's a great way of achieving a simple but very effective lighting effect because, you know, those pieces naturally light up, so it's a bit more of a cheaper and effective way of doing that, and it looks lovely here, so a great little design. We also go to a nice collection of Slicer disc pieces on display here, a very pretty sight, that's for sure. We've got a few smaller mocks like this Scorpion-inspired build here, and then we move over to these larger mosaics. Now, these are lenticular mosaics, so from one side they look like the G2 Bionicle characters, then when we transition over we can see on the other side that they look like the G1 versions of those characters. Always cool to see mosaics that do that. Now we've got some nice mocks below these mosaics. I love seeing this Galador torso piece in action on this Bionicle mock here, the purple and black one specifically. And then check out the tongue design using a flag piece, and then this awesome mohawk design on this Nocturne build. So much fun, such a clever design. And then we have a mock that uses some Ben 10 pieces, like the headpiece for example on this mock on the left. And then this mech uses some teal brick separators for shoulder armor. Lots of nice part usages today, it's cool. And then there's a few more builds from people who couldn't make it to the show but were still able to send over some mocks so that they could still display. I like that. It's great to see a mix of LEGO creations and then some really well drawn art as well. I mean, hey, there's many different ways that you can display Bionicle stuff, even if you don't actually have any physical Bionicle mocks. These builds in the corner here are really fun. I love that this build has a pet dog, very similar to, you know, Maxilos and Spinax. And then the great kind of mask combo here of the Paraka skull piece mixed with Huki's mask. What a fun mask combination, I really enjoy that. This trans orange and blue mock here, the wings on the back there, really nice, and it also looks like the face lights up too. Rad. J6 Crash here has his awesome cat bust, which is just so well made with its piercing eyes. And then it's a pleasure to see one of his recent mocks here, this awesome fox mock that I spoke about on the Bionicle Inspiration series. I just adore this mock. And then of course he's got his great T-Rex, which is crushing this car. Another brilliant build that he's done. A lot to love from J6 Crash. Now over to my old mate Mitch Henry. Check out this build here that uses this huge mask piece from the Toa Terrain Crawler System Bionicle playset. It's great to see that mask being used on a mock that is within the scale of that mask. Really, really impressive, and not something you see every day. Now, Mitch brought heaps of Bionicle mocks this year, which is great to see, and I don't know, there's something really unique about Mitch Henry's style of building. I think he's somebody who is really developing a different and distinct voice within the community at the moment. He has such a unique build style where he's kind of a master of the weird and the wonderful side of Bionicle building. I think he really likes to push boundaries and explore the wackier side of Bionicle mock building, and I just love that. And I think there's something truly just like awesome about being able to go to a convention like this and seeing so many creations that you've seen online and then actually see them in person. It's just like a brilliant and magical experience, and I know it's just so cool to be able to do that, and then also to meet the builders behind those builds as well. I don't know, there's just a lot of incredible, kind and respectful Bionicle builders at Brick Fair, so yeah, it's nice to be able to chat to them and also just to study in detail the builds that you've fallen in love with online and, you know, see what it looks like from behind, look at it from a weird angle that it wasn't photographed from. It's just, Brick Fair's so cool. Now we've got a bit of a mix of all sorts of different stuff on this side of the Bionilug table, but I really love this rock formation and these crystals. We can see this Bruiser Hero Factory mask that's been integrated into the rockwork here, and that's just a super clever idea and works really, really well. We've also got a bit of a battle going on here between all sorts of different mocks from different builders. We can see some of these different tree designs placed around the battlefield here, which is a nice touch, but of course this actually leads into this wonderful Tree Man build here. I love the nose design on this guy, using a rat piece there to form the nose, and then also we can see some of these Chewbacca fur pieces being used to mimic tree bark. That's a really creative design, I love that. Now we've also got multiple different dragons flying around the battlefield here, and of course an awesome castle design too. I love seeing a blend of system pieces and Bionicle mocks. You know, normally I say that on the actual builds, but it's nice to see system pieces making a diorama that the Bionicles are then living and playing and battling in. You don't really see that too much, but it always looks pretty cool, and this is a nice example of that. Just on the subject of Brick Fair, I highly recommend that you do go to Brick Fair or any other LEGO convention if you can. Do a bit of research, see if there's any near you, and I mean, you know, there's heaps across all of the United States, and yeah, there's many around the world as well. And, you know, look, it wasn't cheap for me to fly all the way from Australia over to Virginia for the convention, but oi, it was worth the long travel time and worth the cost as well. So if you're debating it, it is worth saving up for and committing to. You will have so much fun. So that's the end of the Bionilug table. Over now to some of the scattered Bionicle mocks that were just across the rest of the convention hall and not specifically on any of the Bionicle tables. This is Papa Duplo's Armored Battle Suit by Socket Ball. This won the award for Best Mecha, and yeah, it's a pretty rad build, so it certainly deserved that award. Next to this is this awesome Duplo whale mech, and this creepy Fabuland dude with a knife in his mouth, but it's still a fantastic mock. Cody Avery has a great looking wacky classic space mech here, love the landscape on that. He's also got a wonderful crab, love a good crab. Then we go into kind of Mech City here. We've got plenty of brilliant system-built mechs that still kind of tick that Bionicle construction box, especially this one here that uses CCBS parts on the upper and lower limbs and blends it flawlessly with the rest of the sort of system-heavy body and limbs and stuff. A nice underwater mech here that looks wonderful. And then we got this cool computer bug that uses some crowbar pieces on the edges of the feet there in a very clever and creative way. It's a good part use, that's for sure. We got a goofy looking Pizza Man and a Grimace mock, as well as some Sonic related Bionicle builds, which are very well designed, and this funny Mountain Dew robot as well. Alright, back to the main 4 big tables of Bionicle now. We've got a lovely Rakshi mosaic here and a few other builds scattered below it. I love this Flash and Gorilla Grodd Bionicle mock here. It's a great idea to use that Chima gorilla headpiece there, and of course the Kakama mask in red is a nice touch for a mask for Flash. We've got a Star Wars build inspired by some of the modern Marvel comics, as well as this big mock here with a great face design. Some of the nice angles on this give it a good sinister evil look. I love seeing this full team of the gift with purchase Toa Mata, and it's even better to see them with some stickers on the heads here so that they all look similar to the original Tahu set. Very nice. We go from the smaller Toa Mata into the bigger Bionicle revamps of the same team. It's nice to see some brick-built backdrops behind it here, just as a nice touch. Definitely a great way of displaying a whole team of Toa. And then there's plenty more builds here. No mock cards on them, unfortunately, so, well, at least at the time of the recording here, so I can't necessarily credit them or name all of them, but hey, they look pretty cool. Then at the end of the table here, we go to Mason Cast's collection of mocks, and they're great to see. I love some of the motorized parts of these builds here, and I actually got to see a lot of Mason's stuff last year too, so it was great to see it again this year. And I mean, I think that's why I love Brick Fair so much. It's great to catch up with old friends, you know, look at all the cool new mocks, the old ones, the new ones, talk to the builders, hang out with everyone there, make new friends, and buy Lego, sell Lego, and just kind of be around all that nerdy Lego energy. It's just, there's a lot of fun. It's really rewarding, and it's also a very inspiring experience. I've got a lot of different mock ideas after coming back from the convention, so there's a lot of good reasons to go. I recommend it. Hey, and then we get to see some more awesome stuff from Ziontro with the return of his awesome Archangel mock, which I also recently spoke about in a separate video. Ziontro also brought plenty of other impressive character builds here, including this awesome Panda mock as well. Just next to this, I love the energy of this build. All these crosses pointing out at different angles like this, it looks awesome. Such a dynamic build here. We also move over to a few more sister mechs on this side of the table. Some of them blend CCBS and your classic bricks very, very well. I love seeing these Exoforce Supernova yellow sticker pieces in action here. Exoforce stickered parts always look really cool. They've got a great aesthetic to them, so seeing them in action here, yeah, it's a good call. It makes for a great look. Some more stuff, including this brilliant Motoro revamp and also a teal and a purple build. Love me some teal and purple. They're such nice colors, so it's always good to see mocks that use those specific colors in such large quantities. Just great to see. There's also this lovely series of mocks here that take advantage of those old X-Pod dish pieces in multiple different colors, and it makes for a really sick head design here. So yeah, great to see a series of them all lined up together here, and I believe this was by a group of different people here, so it makes for a really fun collaborative display. Very fun, very cool. Now, my fellow Australian Jack here has brought some brilliant Bionicle mocks with him. I love his Nico robot here. It's a lot of fun, and it uses these black number, letter, symbol tile pieces here to add so much personality to the face design. Just a really great look. And there's always some kind of goofy builds on display too, so shout out to these. You'll see a few more of these scattered around later in the video. This snowy base on this mock with these red swords is a really nice touch. I love seeing stuff like that. And some of the builds behind that mock here, I believe, were built by Chris Karnak, who's an old friend from back in the day. Lots of fantastic builds here. I especially love this one here that uses some of these newer trans pink weapon pieces from the crystallized Ninjago sets. These work wonders as wings and as legs. It makes for a really dynamic look. It's a great part choice. Now, by the way, I was unfortunately sick at Brick Fair this year, which sucked, but yeah, I ended up having to kind of sleep for a whole day of the convention, and so I kind of lost a day in that sense, which was unfortunate, but there kind of wasn't much I could do about it. I unfortunately got very sick, which really sucked. Because of that, I had to strip back some of my filming plans, so I wanted to do a few more extra videos and things, but I simply just couldn't do that. So with that in mind, I apologize if I missed any mocks mocks for what was on display of all of the Bionicle mocks there. I did check the tables pretty much like 2 or 3 times each day just to be sure that I wasn't missing anything, so I don't believe I have missed anything. But given that I was like sick and a little bit out of it, a few things may have slipped through the cracks and stuff like that there. So I apologize, but this should be every single mock. I also apologize if I met any fans or any other people there and I seemed a little out of it or seemed a little just not quite with it. It's because I was very sick, unfortunately. But everyone that I did get to meet there, it was an absolute pleasure to say hi to everyone, to meet people who I'd seen on the Discord server or online and their builds and stuff. It was just such a great experience. The other thing too, with potentially missing any mocks here, there is of course the 5 days of BrickFair, 2 of which are public, the other 3 are just, hanging out and setting up and stuff. So the fact that people can bring in mocks at any time during those 3 days, it means it can be sometimes a little bit easy to miss things. So like I said, I believe this is every single one, but if you're sitting there being like, no, my mock wasn't featured, I apologize. Anyway, let's get back to talking about the mocks. So we've been looking at fellow YouTuber and old friend Wombat Combat pictures here. He's got some lovely revamps of Brutaka and Axon and a bunch of other canon characters as well. And of course, he's got his own unique character builds and things too. Connor, of course, has his own YouTube channel. Be sure to check it out if you haven't. He goes into big depth and detail on his own mocks. So be sure to check that out if you want to learn a little bit more about these awesome dudes. Of course, he's also been playing with some lighting on some of his mocks. They look fantastic. That rounds off the end of this table, but let's move over to the next table now. We begin with my mate Jake. He's got a whole bunch of awesome Bionicle builds here. We can see a few painted pieces on some of the mocks here, but you know what? It adds some nice personality to the mock, so I like that. All these characters looked even better at night when they're all lit up. It's nice to see that essentially every single one of them has lights in it, so yeah, it makes for a very impressive display. I love these blade pieces on the fingers of this fantastic mock here. It makes for a great hand design. And the bases or the stands on both of these mocks here, what great touches that add so much to these builds. Both of them look awesome. We got the Spider-Man pointing meme in Bionicle form here, and a few other nice builds too. One of them, of course, features the rare Chrome Silver Howl mask, which is very cool, but very expensive. But hey, it works great on this mock here and looks lovely. We've also got a Slenderman mock here, and I love the inclusion of a Krater piece for a tie. It's a very nice touch. And nice to see a Slenderman mock too. Now we head over to first timer Lukey with a gorgeous green mock there. And he brought quite a few different mocks here on some very lovely displays too, really making sure to stagger the display so it's easy to view. We got some pretty nice color schemes here too, especially this one just behind these Matoran here that has like that cool robotic arm and the asymmetrical designs on the leg and stuff like that. Really, really nice stuff. It was a pleasure to meet Lukey and see him setting up and have a quick chat with him, even though I was a little bit sick and a little bit out of it, but still lovely to meet him there. Love the chest design on this black one here with that tube running through it there. That little pop of color is very nice, and some blue here looks lovely up against that white as well. I love this mock here, inspired very much by some recent Ninjago sets. And this interesting shield piece here, that beautiful bright azure color there. I actually don't know the name of that color off the top of my head there, but still, Lukey killed it with all of his mocks at BrickFair. A nice array of mocks, and that cool blue and gold one using some of those car wash brush pieces there for a weapon. Very unique idea. Then we got crabs with cannons. Amazing combination. We move over now to Tigera's mocks. Really nice to see some of these in person here. A very good display too. I really enjoyed how a lot of them had these individual bases on them. One, just because it looks cool and it added some industrial looks or like that, a sort of more, desert bush effect and stuff. But what was also really helpful with that, of course, too, is the fact that at a convention like this, you bump the table, sometimes it's a lot easier for your Bionicle mocks to fall over. So putting a nice base underneath it there makes it look clean, really presentable, and stops it from falling over too much. It's not like it's some plague and all the mocks fall over every 2 seconds or something like that, but it eliminates the problem, which is certainly helpful. We move over to Raven's stuff now. Really cool robotic arm design there. And again, talking about presentation, which is really important at a convention like this. I love some of these custom printed mock cards here with the names of the characters on them and stuff. And of course, you get the mock cards just by applying for BrickFair and everything, and it's just a good way to identify the mock and put a description to it and stuff. But adding your own custom stuff too, man, it just looks so cool, and it really does make all of these mocks shine. So really good inclusion there for sure. And of course, a lot of these mocks lit up too at the Night of Lights looked so good. Definitely start playing around with lights. You could buy some at Brick Fair. You can get some with like Light My Bricks and a few other custom third-party companies and stuff like that. It's worth considering, that's for sure. This is cool. It's rare to see that yellow Scorpio XV1 rider mask used on a mock, and it looks great here. Then we then move over to a mock called Hekaru V2 by Sawyer Fox. Love a good Matoran and Toa combo, or this could just be like a little dude and a big guy, but still, it's a great pairing. And also some stuff by EXX Trooper, who I sadly wasn't able to meet at the show, but I do love his stuff. Those Dino Attack wing pieces on that big mock in the middle there, great choice. Those wings really shine on that mock. And so many awesome weapon designs scattered all throughout these different builds. Great stuff. A few of these different builds here use some Hero Factory pieces and some Bionicle pieces together in a few different nice creative ways. I like that. We've also got some tubing being played with here on this taller Bionicle. Looks lovely. And I adore this mock by Crustacean Makes. I think it's brilliant. This sort of like ice demon possessing a robot. I think it's a really great concept that they executed very well. Great to see some of these Smorg wings in action on this Bionicle here. Those wings sadly aren't cheap, but they always look so sharp and so cool. We've also got an example of how the convention evolves a little bit as the days progress here. We've got a lovely lineup of builds here from some fine people, and they do change a bit here, as you can see, and this new setup I think actually looks very nice. But yeah, a good example of how, you know, sometimes you need to bump around space to allow for new people who've come in and stuff like that, but sometimes you can make the most of it here. It looks good. We've got a few more Toa Mata revamps now, and these all look absolutely stunning. And yeah, there were actually a fair amount of Toa Mata builds and revamps at the convention this year, which is a happy, good surprise. I love the inclusion of some of these lime plant pieces on Gully's shoulder here. That's a great way to add a nice pop of color to her. Really good choice. Great to see some Hero Factory builds here. It's a shame that there weren't actually that many Hero Factory characters on display. It's very Bionicle heavy, I suppose, but hey, bit of Hero Factory love here, always good. We've got ourselves a lovely Akimu mock as well. Akimu always deserves more love. He too is a fantastic character. Then we've got a pretty big lineup of different Toa and other Bionicle characters here. It's always nice to see people bring huge amounts of Bionicle mocks. It's just Brick Fair things, you know? Also, there's some brightly colored 3D printed masks which are actually for sale here. Nice to see them on display. They actually look really lovely together here. Then we've got a huge Leviathan creature using some nice translight blue parts, and also some of those Elves dragon wings. Elves always had such helpful, beautiful pieces in them. And then some of these other mocks use some 3D printed masks on them on these awesome custom builds. So great to see some before and then actually seeing some in action here. I think these were bought from different places, of course, but they still look awesome. Love seeing that trans-clear new Tahu mask there on that almost Darth Vader inspired mock. Such a cool mask. I actually almost bought one at Atlanta Brick Co while I was in America, but very expensive mask, sadly. A lot of other fantastic mocks on display here. I love this little tiny Strack dude with some of those ice pieces, and then the one just behind it with all of those beautiful Ray cloth pieces. Love the almost sort of monk-like look of that character build. So cool. These spiders are great, using the Krana pieces for the head and that bush for the spider butt. Very nice. Better look at that cloth mock. I just think that's so cool. Kind of want to build something similar to it, to be honest. And that's one of the beautiful things about Brick Fair. It's so easy to get inspired because there's so many cool mocks on display. Got another mock that uses some interesting dish pieces there for a cool kind of samurai shonen look. And then we're back to Jake's mock. So let's transition over back to the original table and finish that one off. Grayson brought his awesome skull. Now the eyes on this actually move. Sadly, I didn't get any footage of it moving, but I believe in my 2022 Brick Fair tour video, I showcased that. So if you want to see that, you can go check that out. And we've been seeing a few different mocks by Socketball here. He makes so many incredible custom mask designs that look exactly like real Lego. So it's great to see them in action on a few mocks here. Then we got Moldot Masks just next door, who's painting a few masks here, and there's some of them on display. So yeah, you could actually just bring in masks, get him to paint them for you. Obviously you pay for it and stuff, but it's really nice to have that opportunity in person there, and they do such a good job of what they do. There's a few more Bionicles next to this here on some nice white cloth, which is good. It helps it stand out a little bit more, especially when some of these mocks use a lot more black pieces. The white really makes it stand out. We can actually see some of those painted masks in action here. The purple and the yellow combination there, stunning. Then we've got a few more different mocks by Grayson featuring some weird and wonderful creatures that use some obscure pieces, as well as some wonderful Galador pieces in some of these mocks too. Gotta love that Galador, this is some great stuff. Up next we got Daniel Brickson, who brought his Kaiju game. I love this mock here. These wing pieces come from one of the somewhat recent Harry Potter Hungarian Horntail dragon sets, and yeah, all of those cloth pieces together like that make for the perfect wing design, so nice. Then Daniel's also got this impressive tiger mock and his very realistic and very majestic bird on this flower here. I adore these two mocks from him. Daniel always brings phenomenal mocks to the show. A few more brilliant builds just next door. I love this one here at the top using some of those white balloon pieces for some sleek shoulder pads. Very nice design. And just next door we have some mocks that look fantastic. I love this one at the back here specifically that has these tubes coming out of the head, and then it sort of interfaces with this interesting sci-fi system chunk of some kind. A really unique take and a just phenomenal idea. And possibly my favorite section, the crab corner. We got plenty of different crabs from many fantastic builders. We've actually got a crab of mine as well. There's my little teal crab, but I think everyone else's crabs are way cooler and way better. We can see some big ones and some small ones as well. I love this translucent crab at the back there with those really thin legs using those antenna pieces there. Such a cool design. We've also got a little mosaic that I built of my logo, and then also my self mock as a little Matoran just next to it too. A brilliant dinosaur mock here using some Ninjago dragon wings in red for that kind of spiky back that looks phenomenal. Then we can see some brilliant Makuta mocks here, and I love that these are using some of those socket ball masks we were talking about before, like that Krakan with those little tips of green. Such a nice vibe to it. And then this one here, the purple movie version of the Krakan, that looks so realistic and so beautiful, and great to see the teeth integrated into it too. We've got some stuff from my mate Marshall here. He's built some brilliant mocks, especially this frog mech, and you can see the actual little itty bitty frog piloting it on the inside. Such a fun and creative and clever idea. A very distinct beast here with very unique proportions, some of those very large red claw pieces too. Such a crazy and out there design. The same can be said for this funky Galador mock. And then we move over to some builds from my old friend Lord Oblivion, otherwise known as Tony, who's someone I used to speak to all the time back in the day, and it was a pleasure to finally be able to meet him in person. Tony brought lots of new and old designs to the show, and he's actually even got that little QR code there so you can scan that and then give him a follow on the Instagram. He deserves that for sure. Tony's built lots of creepy but really cool builds, as well as some like strong powerhouses as well. I love his take on Akimu here, the idea of giving him this sort of like sentient limbs, a really unique idea. It's great to see some old gold pieces being used on this mock too. It's got some creepy looking teeth as well. It's a very distinct build for sure. Oh, and of course he brought his revamped Rust Ghoul, which has such a great face design. Tony built so many good mocks this year. Lovely to see them. We've also got some brilliant stuff from Patrick Biggs too. He's got his snazzy looking tower builds here, and he's also got his monstrously huge brick badge tower. You get brick badges at various different conventions, so you can see how many he's been to there. Yeah, Patrick's mocks are always so full of life and personality, and he even brought a few builds that date back to some of the earlier days of Bionicle on the internet, so it's certainly a nostalgia trip to see some of the older ones, but hey, it's even a bit of a nostalgia trip to see some of his newer ones too, because I'm very fond of Patrick's builds, so it's lovely to see them. I adore his Harley Murray mock with this beautiful coral base. The theme for Brick Fair this year was actually water, so this was surprisingly fitting, even though he built this way before Brick Fair. The wing design on Harley is also fantastic. There's a lot to love about this, but there's even more to love about Patrick's awesome deer. These autumn colors up against the black color scheme of the deer is so striking and so pretty. And actually this won Best Non-Humanoid Bionicle this year. It won the Bricky Award for that. So well deserved, and I'm very glad it did, because there's a special place in my heart with this mock. I think it looks so gorgeous. So much to love from Patrick. Not just his mocks, he's also a fantastic person as well. Oh, and now for Cody Avery, lots of great stuff to dive into here. Such a distinct build here with these like guts and then like a skeletal arm sticking out of the chest. Just very original. And then this mock here is like harvesting Scala babies and putting them in these translucent canisters. Another very unique idea. You know, Cody's a bit of an ideas man himself. He's certainly got a lot of creative and solid ideas going around. Then we've got his brilliant reimagining of Gadunka here. Love those glow-in-the-dark parts. And then we move into his Elder Beast, which has lots of eyes all over it. Very Lovecraftian and a beautiful build. And another beautiful build is his Cain Ra revamp, which is a lot more bull-like. I love those masks sticking off of the horns. We've got his great Kaiju build and a little micro-scale city to go along with it for it to destroy. And then also an elephant mock that Cody has made. It's surprisingly rare to see Bionicle elephants these days, so hey, I adore that. Another chrome Howl here and some blacksmiths working on, crafting them there. And then everyone's favorite hero, we've got Good Guy revamped and looking beautiful. And then some gift with purchase style builds. It's so great to see so many of them here on display at Brick Fair this year, because they're a lot of fun. Then we move over to Kevin Huxhold with a rad Galador mech. And then we got a Samurai behind it too, which is also using a Galador piece on the torso there. Masterfully integrating that Galador with some system and some Bionicle all together in one. Looks so good. Then a bit of a funky face design here with a Borok Krana holder piece for that open mouth. And then we've got this buffed up Baraki squid, perfect for the water theme of Brick Fair this year. And with that, that is the end of our coverage for every Bionicle mock at Brick Fair, Virginia this year. I hope you enjoyed seeing everything on display here, and well done to all the people who were displaying. There was just so much talent and so much creativity this year. It was a joy to see it all. And like I said, more Brick Fair videos will be coming soon, and some in-depth videos on individual mocks are on the way, so stay tuned. Thanks for watching, guys. Happy building, and bye for now.